Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit. It's from Unhappy Promise 7630 and it says, am I the arsehole for refusing to allow my sister to wear our late mother's jewelry? Using throwaway because my family uses Reddit. I, 23 female, and my sister Abby, 20 female, have always had a bumpy relationship throughout our childhood. After our mother's death 2 years ago, we have grown a bit closer. She didn't leave a will, but our dad gave me her jewelry because I wear jewelry every day, and I've always loved jewelry, especially our mother's jewelry. My sister never wears jewelry because she doesn't find it comfortable, so she always takes it off within an hour. She is also prone to losing things because she sets them down and forgets where she puts them. We'd have to wait for her before we could leave the house because she would constantly forget where she had placed things. I would carry her phone and wallet in my purse because she doesn't carry one. Next week, she's going to a destination wedding and she is asking for some of our mother's jewelry to take on the trip. I said no and explained why. She took offense and told me, she's my mother too, you can't gatekeep her jewelry. I told her that I'm not gatekeeping and that I don't want to lose her jewelry. I don't even wear the jewelry a lot because I don't want to lose it. Our dad thinks I should just give it her to keep the peace. Some friends of ours think that I'm not the arsehole because she does, in fact, lose the smallest of things. Now for me in this, it just felt like the dad has created sibling drama himself by giving only one of his kids the jewelry to begin with. Sure, I get the reasoning that, one sister wears the jewelry, but unless there's some missing context here, to just give one child the jewelry, which are sentimental items, just seems a bit off to me. I think the smarter thing would have been to do is divide it all, or at least have a conversation to begin with about it. But Fit Engineering says, it doesn't matter if she doesn't wear jewelry regularly or not. She should be able to have some of your mother's jewelry for sentimental reasons at the very least. It really doesn't matter if you think she should have it or not. Your dad should have split it between the two of you in the first place. It's really not fair that you get all of it and don't want to share. How would you feel if your dad gave all the jewelry to her and she made up reasons why you shouldn't get to have any? You would likely think differently about it if you were in her shoes. She should have some of her own from your mother's collection. Commenter replies that saying agreed. Opie did a good job of stating her case, but didn't mention what little sis got that she didn't. Seems unfair. Info. OP, did your sister get something that you're not interested in to balance the scales after your mum's passing? Opie said to clarify, yes, she did get most of her clothes as they're the same size. It was agreed that she got clothes and I got jewelry. Our mother was also very into scrapbooking, so she gets to hold on to those. Entire says you're the arsehole, but your dad is the bigger arsehole. The fact that your dad gave you every single piece of your mum's jewelry and didn't even consider your sister is heartbreaking. Even if your sister doesn't wear jewelry as often, or whatever excuse you both tell yourselves to excuse your behavior. It sucks that your dad put you in this position, but now that you're here, you're just being cruel as he was. You are gatekeeping your mum's jewelry from your sister. If I were you, I would choose to treat my sister as my mum would have wanted her to be treated. I can't imagine your mum would have celebrated you keeping everything for yourself and sharing nothing with her other child, who also loved and lost her. Think carefully, because this is about more than the jewelry. You and your dad are behaving cruelly to your sister, who is also grieving. That can be enough to start to break down your relationships. And there was lots of you're the arsehole and no one's an arsehole here comments, but one from the other side from Burnt who says, not the arsehole. I've been in this situation with irresponsible relatives who shouldn't have been bequeathed important, meaningful things and were, and lost them. Ultimately, Dad should have given her some stuff, and if she lost it, then she'd have no one to blame but herself. But that's not what happened. He gave it to you, and now it's yours and the responsibility of preserving it. It's yours, and you are not the arsehole for knowing your sister isn't capable of keeping it and taking good care of it. I feel like shit and resent her deeply if I entrusted some of it to her, and she predictably lost or broke it. So you're not to blame for deciding not to do that. Hope you also add, it's not I don't want her to have the jewelry or wear it at all. I don't want her bringing it on a destination wedding in Colorado, where there's no way to get it back if it's lost. She doesn't like jewelry, but she is in the wedding party and needs jewelry for the photos. So Opie adds an update and says, first off, I would like to clarify some things said. My sister does not like jewelry. She does not wear it. She refuses to wear it. She only asked for them for a destination wedding for pictures. She picked out the clothes. I picked out the jewelry. She has no problem with me having the jewelry. She'd rather me have the jewelry because she doesn't want to keep them. She wanted to borrow them for the wedding, but I said no because I was afraid of her losing them. With that being said, I love my sister. My dad loves my sister. That's why she got the clothes, because she takes care of things she likes, like clothing. I talked to my sister since there is a decent amount of jewelry. Some she rarely wore, and some she wore all the time, like the wedding and engagement ring, along with 2 cross necklaces. I talked to my sister. I apologized for reacting the way I did. She accepted my apology and laughed it off because she, in her words, has the mind of a fish, so I understand why you reacted the way you did. She then explained that she was thinking of only wearing them for the ceremony and pictures, so she most likely takes them off for the rest of the day. So I agreed to give her a little jewelry bag she can put the jewelry in, and put the bag in her purse so she won't lose it. I gave her some pieces for the wedding. We went through them and picked out the jewelry that goes with the bridesmaid's dress. It was a good bonding time as we drank some coffee and went back on some memories of our childhood and our mother. I gave her an old jewelry box of mine, and she said she was thinking of only wearing them for the ceremony and pictures, so she will carry the box in her car and put them in the box after the ceremony and pictures. I also gave her one of the cross necklaces. She said she had put it in her car since she won't wear it. She said she will hang it on her rear view mirror so she can look at and think of her while driving. We both said it would be like a sister's necklaces to remember her by. Gotta admit, I slapped my forehead when she said she could be hanging on her rear view mirror, hanging a necklace there. I just thought, that's gonna get robbed. But now I'm gonna turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now, our next story is one that we've lightly covered before, but it has new updates in it as well. So if you do want to skip parts of the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. This one's from Long Assistant 8873, and it says, am I the arsehole for not letting my friends use my backyard for their wedding because they do not want me to bring a +1? Here's the situation. Last summer, I bought my grandparents' house. This house was the hangout spot for my friends and I throughout our childhood. This includes my friend Dave. The house has a sizable amount of land, which includes a lake and a gazebo. I was supposed to buy the house with my now ex-girlfriend, Leslie, but going through the process of getting approved to buy, I found out that she has massive amounts of credit card and personal debt that she hid from me throughout our 4 years together. I decided to break up as a result. That was about 6 months ago. I met Leslie because Dave's long-term girlfriend, Kim, is Leslie's cousin. Dave and Kim are engaged and set to get married in April. When I was buying the house, they asked if they could have the ceremony at the gazebo, which I agreed to do. In December, I started dating again. Leslie has not taken this well at all. She thinks that we're going to get back together and has tried multiple times to make that happen. I told her in no uncertain terms that it isn't happening. Dave and Kim have asked me to not bring a +1 to the wedding for Leslie's sake. I've told them that this request is ridiculous. This wedding is happening at my house, using my land, and I'm not allowed to bring a date because of a crazy ex. If that is the case, then they need to find a new venue for the wedding. They are pissed about this, given the short time frame of when the wedding is supposed to happen. So we're at an impasse. Am I the arsehole? Edit. I've seen a few things brought up a number of times in the comments, so I will quickly address them here. 1. I'm fully aware of the liability issues, which is why I purchased, and they reimbursed me for a special event insurance policy, which will provide 100% coverage for any damages, claims, injuries, etc. to any of the property or persons up to $2 million. It is one of the first things we did after I agreed to have the event in my home. 2. The wedding will have a maximum, if everyone comes, of 75 guests, 5 catering staff and 5 security staff. The security is because this is an open area that anyone walking past can access. The house has hosted events twice this size and logistically it has been fine. On the property are 2 cottages, one with 1 bathroom and the other with 2 bathrooms. The only portion of my house that will not be locked during the wedding is the finished basement. The basement has 2 bathrooms. 3. Every person who is single, i.e. not in an established relationship, received an invitation with a +1, including me and Leslie. This talk came after I sent in my return card and indicated I was bringing a +1. Now they are saying they do not want me to have a +1 because Leslie blew up about it, and they're afraid of a blow up at the wedding. 4. Leslie indicated she intends to bring someone on her card. I do not know if she will actually bring someone. So the top commenter on this one said to OP, pull an Uno reverse. Tell them Leslie isn't allowed on your property, and watch their heads explode. OP said the petty part of me did absolutely consider saying, well, Leslie cannot come to my house or on my land, so it shouldn't be a problem. Another commenter says, out of curiosity, are either you and / or Leslie in the wedding party? OP says Leslie is in the wedding party. Dave is the youngest of 5 boys, so all his groomsmen are his brothers. A commenter who was downvoted says, this one is really tough. I'm going with everyone sucks here, although it is more or less a toss-up with that and no one's an arsehole here. Listen, I get it. It's your house and you're doing them a favor. But is bringing a date when you've been dating again for 2 months really a hill you want your friendship to die on? She isn't just your ex, she's the bride's family. Can't you go it alone for this one day? Or bring a friend instead of a romantic interest so you aren't intentionally causing drama at your friend's wedding? If you take the venue out of it, would you expect to bring a date? And if the answer is no, did you tell them when you said you could use the house that there was such a big string attached? The wedding is in April. Telling them to find somewhere else at this point is a huge, most likely, friendship ending thing. Opie responded saying, I do not consider this a big string attached. All of our single friends have a +1. Leslie has a +1. I am literally the only person who is not in an established couple, who they do not want to have a +1. I would expect to be treated like every other guest. I know Leslie is Kim's family, but Dave and I have been family to each other, and I have known Dave since I was 3 years old. We grew up together. This makes it feel like we're not as close as I previously thought, and if I knew they would ever consider treating me like a stranger, which is what it feels like, I absolutely would have never agreed to let them use my land for the wedding. Opie responds to another downvoted commenter and says, for the last 6 months, my life because of Leslie has been drama. Every person who will be at the wedding is in some way or form connected to the drama. The woman I am dating is not. I want someone who is disconnected from this drama, who I do not feel like I have to walk on eggshells around. My peace also matters. All I'm asking is for them to tell Leslie. Just act like an adult for 4 hours. But instead, they'd rather have me be uncomfortable than to have that talk, when I am doing what I can to help them with this wedding. Again, someone says, why security? Opie says security is to keep people out. This is an open area. And then says to another commenter, the wedding is outside. I have acres of land and it is largely unfenced, including this section. Any stranger could easily walk up on the event. Another commenter who was again downvoted says one thing, you're not entitled to Leslie's financial information as a boyfriend, even as a long-term boyfriend. She was not hiding it from you. It was none of your business. It became your business when merging finances became a likelihood. Opie says, I am entitled to not being told lies. In conversations about finances, she misrepresented her financial status. She is the one who initiated our conversations about money about 6 months into the relationship and then hid information for years about her financial situation. She demanded to know about my income, debt, and savings. I provided it because I thought we were planning a future together. I asked for the same information and she described her credit card debt as very little. Sorry, but $50,000 of credit card debt is not very little. If her view was you do not have a right to know, then okay. But that was not her view at all. So yeah, she hid it from me. Someone also says how much debt was she in aside from the $50,000? Opie says about $30,000 in student loans and owes about $20,000 on a car. We could pay off the credit card debt in probably about 3 years' time. My issue is her lying about it. I lost trust in her. Someone tells OP to be the bigger person, and OP says, as my therapist says, being the bigger person does not mean allowing yourself to be stepped on. It means loving people when they do not deserve it, and love rarely looks like capitulation. So, about a week after this, Opie came in with their first update and says, "So I met with Dave this morning. We talked for almost 2 hours about everything. I laid it out that I thought he was at best a shitty friend. I went through our long history of various things over the years that has me questioning our friendship. That was the bulk of our conversation. We then turned to the breakup with Leslie and the shit show of the last 6 months. Throughout the last 6 months, despite Leslie's craziness, I've bent over backwards to try and accommodate her feelings. She's shown up to my house in the middle of the night. I did not go for a restraining order. When I go out, I do not go to places I know her and her family like to go. She has implied to her family and mutual friends at various times that I cheated and/or that I took advantage of her financially, neither of which is true at all. I've held my tongue to not embarrass her about things in front of her friends and family. Dave knows all that and yet is demanding once again that I put Leslie's feelings before my own. I said, you and everyone need to stop coddling her like she's a fucking child. Dave concedes that Leslie has been crazy and ridiculous since that breakup, but he says she feels she did not get the closure after the relationship. She wants to have an evening where she can talk to you and get that closure. He also told me that Leslie has been very vigilant about paying off her debt and paid off almost $10,000 of her credit card debt. She wants to talk to me about her progress, to see if that might cause me to change my mind. It will not. I asked him, so do you expect me to go to the wedding and talk to her? Because I've blocked her everywhere and date or not, I do not plan to say a single mumbling word to her. He said, I fully expect she would lose it if you all do not talk at the wedding. I told him if that's the case then for the good of my property, I can't have Leslie come. If she is so unstable that I need to be coerced into a conversation with her, she is too unsafe to be a guest in any capacity in my home. So I've told him, based on what he has told me, Leslie cannot come to my house or on my land. I'm willing to still have the wedding at my place, but I cannot trust Leslie won't do something given what you are telling me. Dave lost it at this point. He said, fuck you and your shit, I don't need it. So I said that the wedding is off. He left, so that is the state of things. A commenter, Undebatable Mum, says, to add, the day of the wedding is not the time to get closure, and at the wedding is not the place to get closure. Your friends are okay with her hijacking their ceremony so she can sleep better at night. Yeah, that would be a big not happening any of it from me. Book Geek says, well, I think one of your key takeaways from this is that you need to start living your life. Stop avoiding places you normally go to. Clarify to people why you broke up, not that you cheated, and put together any evidence of her crazy behavior so you can get a restraining order if needed. You also need to tell people why the wedding isn't happening at your place, as you know they're going to make you out to be the bad guy. Opie responded to some people again and he said, my peace of mind matters, and they offered a solution that keeps the peace, while also not exposing me to the chaos that is Leslie. Leslie does not come to the wedding. I would have been willing to let them have it at my place then. I'd be willing to not come to the wedding myself to make it fair. Meeting and speaking with Leslie is not keeping the peace. It disrupts my peace of mind. A commenter who was downvoted said to OP, you handled this awfully. You don't start a heart-to-heart about your ex-girlfriend by laying out every grievance you've ever had in your relationship with Dave. Where do you expect him to be mentally or emotionally when you even start the conversation about your ex? No wonder he blew up at the end. He felt attacked. Opie says this was not a heart-to-heart about my ex. This was a heart-to-heart with Dave about our relationship, his and mine. We talked about Leslie. I was done with those discussions months ago. I made that clear when setting it up, because I understand Leslie's position. I understand Leslie's position. I understand Kim's position, but I did not understand Dave's position. He knew all this shit and was still acting that way. Commodore says, I think wealth attracts arseholes, and I think Opie is probably a bit sheltered cognitively that his wealth has always given him power over people's behavior to a certain extent. And I think a large part of the shock for OP here is that the friend is walking away from that dynamic. OP responded saying, I have no idea why you think that I grew up wealthy and sheltered. I did not. You notice I did not mention my parents in the post. That is because my parents were too broke to take care of me, as determined by the state. My grandparents had enough to where I could grow up middle class, meaning no worries about my basic necessities, clothing, food, and shelter. But anything beyond those was on me. College was paid for by scholarships and work-study jobs. Grad school was paid for by my employer. I now make relatively good money, And that money stretches quite far because I live in a fairly low-cost rural community and have no kids. If I lived where my job's office is located, I'd be living in a 2-bedroom apartment with a roommate. And Dave and I's dynamic historically has been me going along with whatever he wants, often to my detriment. I think that is why they came to me, rather than even attempt to get Leslie to behave. My shock is that I thought he legitimately cared about my feelings and well-being. This experience makes it clear he does not. So, 3 months later, OP comes in with another update and says, people have asked for an update. Now that the original date of the wedding has passed, I think it is appropriate. In the weeks following the discussion with Dave from my last update, a number of our mutual friends reached out to me and asked if everything was okay. I ignored these messages and went about living my life. Dave reached out to my grandparents. My grandparents said I need to talk to Dave and figure it out. I ignored them. About a month after my last update, Dave's mum reached out. She said, OP, hope you're doing well. Can I come and listen to you? I know a number of people want to tell you what they think, but I just want to hear you. I will say as few or as many words as you want. If you do not want to, I completely understand. Her tone and tenor was different than everyone else, so I decided to meet up. We met on the back porch of my house. I told her everything. The breakup with Leslie, including why we broke up. Getting the invitation with the +1. The subsequent meeting with Dave and Kim, rescinding the +1 because Leslie was upset. And then meeting up with Dave and everything discussed with him. And my decision to say they cannot use my property for the wedding. After I explained everything, I was pretty upset. She asked, can I give you a hug? And I said yes. She gave me a hug while I cried for a bit. She asked if there was anything I wanted her to say. I asked her for her perspective on everything. She talked about how she did not really know why Leslie and I broke up. She had heard rumors about me cheating and the like, but she didn't believe them. But she didn't know why we broke up because she thought we were happy and had a good relationship. She admitted she was upset by it because she was looking forward to coming to our future wedding. Dave and I having kids around the same age, and those kids spending time together at her house like Dave and I used to. But ultimately, she felt it was not her place to say anything since I'm a grown man, entitled to live my life how I see fit. She said Dave can be a jackass and was being one here. She told me Leslie's behavior was out of line, but she did deeply empathize with Leslie. Dave's mum told me things I did not know about her. Dave's mum, break up with a long-term boyfriend before she met Dave's dad, and how for a year and a half, she was an absolute wreck of a person. During that time, she said she did a lot of things she's not proud of, and were out of character for her. She told me she dreamed about a certain life she was going to have, and that dream was scattered. And for a year and a half, she would have done anything to get that dream back. So she cannot judge Leslie, but thinks Leslie needs therapy. We shot the shit for a bit and then she left. For the next couple of weeks, I kept getting calls and texts about what is going on from various people involved. I decided to just, in a rather factual way, lay everything out. I drafted a mass text message and laid out exactly why the wedding was not happening at my home. I went through everything I had shared with Dave's mum. I also sent an email. I let it be known that if anyone showed up to my house on the original wedding date, I would call the police. After I sent the message and email, a number of mutual acquaintances and friends apologized to me for how they've contributed to the situation. Also, shit apparently hit the fan on the wedding. Dave had lied about our conversation to Kim. He apparently told her he begged and pleaded with me to let them have the wedding on my property. Dave reached out to me to apologize and see if I'd be willing to talk. I told him I thought it was best that we do not talk for a while. A lot of people are mad at Leslie and her family is blaming her for the wedding situation. No one showed up to the house on the original day of the wedding. As far as I know, the wedding date is in limbo. Someone says to OP, why is Dave so invested in Leslie's feelings instead of his best friends or his fiancés? OP says I 100% guarantee you Dave is doing Kim's bidding. Kim definitely wants Leslie and I back together. Commoner says, I don't know, you made it sound like Kim was pissed at Dave for lying about the venue situation. OP says she is pissed he lied about our conversation. She very much wants to do the wedding on my property. But she very much wants Leslie at the wedding and for us to reconcile. In other words, as it relates to Leslie, Dave is doing exactly what Kim wants. Someone says, I'm curious if you know what the debt she has was for. Does she have a shopping addiction? Was she simply living beyond her means? Was there a period she didn't work, etc.? OP says, I do not know all the details of how she accumulated the debt. It was over the course of years and due to various issues. For me, it did not matter what the issue was because fundamentally, I could not trust her because she lied. Commenter says to OP, I agree it was wrong of her to lie about him cheating and trying to make him jealous with a +1. That kind of goes to what Dave's mum was saying, that even she said and did things after the breakup that she's not proud of, looking back at it. I agree with her that she probably needs therapy, but I'd say OP probably needs some as well. As for the bride and groom, they not only expect her to reconcile at their wedding, they're actively helping her to the point of being willing to have her cause a scene at their own wedding. Maybe they're more her friends than his. But I think there's more to the story than what's in the posts. OP says there isn't more to the story. Leslie and Kim are cousins, best friends, and were raised like sisters. Dave will do whatever makes Kim happy. Kim set us up and wants Leslie and I together. Commenter says, I know Dave told you that she paid off some of it, but did he ever say anything about her explaining to him or Kim as to why she racked up the debt and why she lied about it for so long? Also, did he or Kim just let her lie to people about you cheating and not try to stop her? Or set the record straight with people? OP says, all I know is she's paying it off with every bit of spare money she has. She's living with family for free, took a second part-time job and is paying it off. I have no idea what she told Dave about how she got the debt or why she lied. It makes no difference to me. I have no idea how the rumor of me cheating started. I have no idea if Leslie started it or someone else. This is a small rural community and rumors spread here with unknown origins. I have no idea what, if anything, Dave, Kim, and or Leslie have done as it relates to these rumors. It does not matter to me at this point. I just want the record and the facts to be straight. I'd rather not have my breakup discussed at all in the town square. I just want people to leave me alone. Do not really care if they believe I cheated or not. And the top comment on the last update actually said, I love Dave's mum. And someone else replied saying, 100 out of 10 on the approach and offer to just listen. The healing salve OP needed while everyone else was just chattering a narrative about him. Feeling heard had to have been so healing, and it did seem to yield some clarity for OP. I like that she empathized without excusing and didn't what about OP for other people having struggles too. She seems like one of those people who can contain two perspectives of the same story with grace, acknowledging the truths. Dave can be difficult, the girl was struggling, and yet somehow sounded non-judgmental of anyone was a lovely way to ally with OP. I'd still dump Dave, but any way we can keep his mum. I wish her a lovely Mother's Day. Yeah, Dave's mum sounds like an absolutely lovely person and someone that OP just needed in that moment. Someone to just listen and acknowledge that, you know, he's not in the wrong here, because it seems like everyone else around him was either lying or somehow making it like OP was overreacting in some kind of way. And his own friend absolutely just wrecking their relationship like this. There was a comment that caught my eye, which I think it resonated so well with the whole thing, really. They said, Win Award says, trust is gained in drops, but lost in buckets. Absolutely. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.